All right, it's time to talk about types of triangles. Once again, I have some vocabulary for you, and we're going to start with the word congruent. Congruent means something that is the same size or the same shape. Congruent means same size, same shape. So two figures that are congruent may be positioned differently, but they will still have the same size and the same shape. For instance, I'll give you a square. Again, pretend that my squares are perfect and that these are perfectly the same size squares. Same size, same shape. Let me give you a triangle. We'll do this kind of triangle right here. It can be flipped or rotated. It can be slid a different direction, but it has to be the same size and the same shape. Again, pretending that Mrs. Cito is perfect in how she draws, these would be the same size and the same shape. Similar means that they are the same shape, but not always the same size. Same shape, not always the same size. And again, they can be flipped or turned or whatever, so let's pretend like I have a rectangle here. I'm going to give you a rectangle here. They're both rectangles, but they are not the same size. Here's an example for a triangle. It could even be twisted or flipped, and it would still be similar. Now, what is a triangle? We've talked about this in previous lessons, but just a reminder. So you can't say I didn't tell you. It is a polygon with 3 sides and 3 angles. Remember that a polygon is a closed figure with straight lines. It has to have 3 or more sides. A triangle has 3 sides. These are some different kinds of triangles. In fact, we're going to actually look at triangles and name them by their sides and angles. So I'm going to go ahead and flip over to another page so I can kind of make this a T-chart for you. The way I'm going to do that, if you're taking notes with me, is I'm going to fold my paper in half, hot dog style, and I'm just going to put a line down the middle. That's going to help me with my triangles. And again, they're named by sides and angles. So we're going to start off with an isosceles triangle. Some of you have probably heard that word before, and it just sounds like it's hard to remember, but it's not. So, hard to spell, but not hard to remember. Isosceles. An isosceles triangle has two sides that are the same length. And the angles opposite of those sides are equal. Again, remember in theory that Mrs. Cito can draw and make these perfect, so you're just going to have to pretend for a second. And we're going to go with something that looks a little bit like this. And we're going to say that both of these sides are 2 inches. And we'll say that this one's 3. So we have two sides that are the same, and these opposite angles would be the same as well. So two sides that are the same and equal opposite angles. That is an isosceles. Dare you to draw it better, I'm just saying. All right, so now we're going to talk about an equilateral triangle. Okay, an equilateral triangle has three sides that are the same length, so all sides are the same length. And all angles are equal. Sometimes this can also be referred to as an equiangular or equiangular triangle. All right, let's see if I can do this. You ready? Well, that's not perfect, but that's okay. It doesn't have to be perfect because it's mine. All right, so in a perfect world, all three of these would be 2 inches. And then all three of your angles would be the same. Again, champions try for Mrs. Cito. Not perfect, but it'll work. Hopefully. Hopefully I won't steer you too wrong. Next is a scalene triangle. A scalene triangle. All right. A scalene triangle is a triangle with all sides different lengths and no equal angles. So all sides are different lengths. And no equal angles. And that's going to be something like this, where maybe we have 2 inches, we have 3 inches, and we have 4 inches. And then this does not equal any other angle. So that actually doesn't need to be there if you're drawing it yourself. Just erase it. Sometimes triangles can be studied specifically by their angles, and we have a couple of those that we kind of look at. One of those is going to be a right triangle. Okay, a triangle that has a right angle is called a right triangle. Usually, these two angles are going to be the same, and the length of these two sides will be the same or similar. All right, a triangle that has 3 acute angles is called a acute triangle. It's a cute little triangle. If there are no equal angles and no equal sides, it could also be called a scalene triangle. So you can have an acute scalene triangle. So again, you can add these in, like you could have a right isosceles triangle. You could have an acute scalene triangle. So I'm just going to go ahead and make an acute. And again, the important part is all 3 of these are less than 90 degrees. And last but not least, a triangle having at least one obtuse angle is called an obtuse triangle. And remember that obtuse angle is the fat man sitting on his recliner. So we're going to look at that and we're going to say, okay, here's the fat man sitting on his recliner is right here. That is an obtuse triangle.